Good morning, students. In the previous video, you learnt about how East India Company came to India for trade purpose and how it started expanding its trade, and that trade sometimes led to battles with the local Nawabs and rulers. Then East India Company thought of establishing its rule in India. Now here we will study about the expansion of company's rule in India. In the beginning, the East India Company rarely launched a direct military attack on Indian territories. Rather, it used a variety of political, economic and diplomatic methods for annexing Indian kingdoms. Let's study those methods. The first one is subsidiary alliance. Sometimes the company forced Indian Nawabs into subsidiary alliance. Now what was this alliance? According to the terms of this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to keep their independent armed forces. The company would maintain subsidiary forces for their protection. For this, Indian rulers had to pay the company. They had to make payment for these subsidiary forces. If the Indian rulers failed to make the payment, then part of their territory was taken away as penalty. Many Indian territories were taken over by the company on this ground. Next is claim to paramountcy. Lord Hastings, he was the Governor General of India from 1813 to 1823. Under Lord Hastings, a new policy of paramountcy was started. The company claimed that its authority was paramount or supreme, hence its power was greater than that of Indian rulers, and in order to protect its interests, it was justified in annexing or threatening to annex any Indian kingdom. Similarly, some territories were annexed on the grounds of misgovernance. The company declared that these territories, the rulers of these territories are unable to govern their territories properly, so that is why they will take over those territories and govern themselves. The next policy that East India Company adopted to expand its rule in India was Doctrine of Lapse. Lord Dalhousie was the Governor General of India from 1848 to 1856. He devised a policy that came to be known as the Doctrine of Lapse. Now this doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse, that is, it would become a part of company territory. मीन्स के ब्रिटिशर्स ने एक पॉलिसी बनाई, उसके अकॉर्डिंग क्या था कि अगर इंडिया में किसी नवाब की, रूलर की डेथ हो जाती है और उसके बाद उसका अपना बेटा उसके पास नहीं है जो उसकी किंगडम को संभाल सके, तो वो किंगडम जो है, अपनी किंगडम अपनी बेटी या अपने अडॉप्टेड सन को नहीं दे सकता. वो किंगडम ब्रिटिश टेरिटरी का, ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की टेरिटरी का पार्ट बन जाएगी. सो मैनी किंगडम्स लाइक सतारा, संबलपुर, उदयपुर, नागपुर, झांसी, these were annexed by applying this doctrine. Now we will study about Tipu Sultan, who is known as the Tiger of Mysore. Mysore had become a very powerful state under the leadership of Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. These were very powerful rulers and they didn't like the increasing power of company. They disallowed local merchants from trading with the company. They also established links with the French. The British became very angry and they felt that Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan were very dangerous for them. So they must control them. 4 wars were fought with them. Only in the last battle, the Battle of Seringapatam, that company got victory. Tipu was killed defending his capital, Seringapatam. Similarly, the British fought wars with Marathas to curb and destroy their power. Then they fought many wars with the rulers of Afghanistan and established their rule there. Then Sindh was taken over in 1843. Then they tried to control Punjab, but they failed to do so because Maharaja Ranjit Singh was a ruler of Punjab at that time, and during his rule they couldn't annex Punjab. When Maharaja Ranjit Singh died in 1839, after his death, company was able to annex Punjab in 1849. Thus we see that East India Company was transformed from a trading company to a territorial colonial power. By 1857, the company came to exercise direct control over about 63% of Indian territory and indirect control over the remaining territory. Now, after acquiring these Indian territories, they brought many changes in the administration. British territories were broadly divided into administrative units called presidencies. There were 3 presidencies: Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Each was ruled by a governor. The supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. Then they established 2 types of courts in each district. These were civil court and criminal court. Then East India Company began recruitment for its own army, which came to be known as the Sepoy Army. The British began to develop a uniform military culture. Soldiers were given European-style training. Caste and community feelings were ignored in building a force of professional soldiers. Now, after having a detailed study of the chapter, let's now discuss once again the important dates that we have studied in this chapter. First, in 1600, East India Company acquired a charter from Queen Elizabeth, granting it the sole right to trade with the East. 1651, first English factory was set up on the banks of the river Hooghly. 1757, Battle of Plassey. 1764, Battle of Buxar. 1765, Mughal Emperor appointed the company as the Diwan of Bengal. 1799, Battle of Seringapatam. Now students, in this chapter we have seen that East India Company came to India as a trading company, but slowly it was able to rule over the whole Indian territory.